You think you just fell out?
This is a beautiful, beautiful video. Why Kamala lost to Trump.
Of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Bro, this chick is this chick is Indian for a fact. I'm telling you. Bro. I'm telling you, cuz this chick Indian, cuz.
Overall hater, Kamala Harris was supposed to make history by becoming the first female president of the United States. Instead, she lost every battleground state. She lost voters her party had relied on for decades.
The Fox News decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
And she lost an election many Democrats thought was unlosable.
226 to 277.
I don't think it's
The 47th.
Hold up. Look, guys, look. Harris, 226. Trump, 277. But Trump is a fascist, y'all. Trump is a fascist. He forced his way into the government. He's a fascist. He stole it. He stole it. After Biden and them let in millions of fucking illegal immigrants, Trump stole the elections.
7th president of the United States.
And she lost an election many Democrats thought was unlosable.
I think it's going to be a blowout, actually. I don't think it's going to be a close race.
It'll be tied on election day. As always, it will. The polls will be tied, and then he'll lose.
Kamala Harris returned Donald Trump to the White House.
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
I couldn't care less.
I was asked if he was a fascist, and I said yes.
We have to stay woke. And when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community. I love Venn diagram.
Like, what the fuck is you talking about? What are you saying? The children of the community is the children of the community. Yes, no shit. 9 equals 9, nigga. 8 equals 8. 1 equals 1. 2 equals 2. Like, what are you saying?
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes.
Probably should not have said that. My staff will deal with that later.
And today, we're going to break down exactly why and work out, using the data and political science, America's deeper political realignment.
Am I just like, fuck it? I knew what was going to happen to our country. I knew the harm that was going to happen.
And look at what the fuck she's still talking about. I knew. Bro, I just moved into a brand new apartment. Fuck is wrong with you? There's nothing going on. The only thing that's going on is niggas can't buy Christmas gifts, and that's because of your ass. Because when Trump was at, when fucking Biden had that auto pin, you ain't step up and become the next fucking president. And if you did do it and we didn't know, you did all of this shit as a fucking buffoon.
And we're going to work out what's going on. Stay tuned till the end because you're going to love this.
But you say in your book, I'm not done. That is correct. I am not done.
Hi, if you're new here, my name is Dr. Vinay Ranigat, a former political leadership scholar.
I'm sorry. And in my head, I'm thinking they killed Charlie Kirk because of this. They killed Charlie Kirk because of this.
At the University of Oxford. On this channel, we break down the ideas and decisions that shape nations and those that make your life a little bit better. One small thing that really helps us out before we get going, please hit that beautiful free subscribe button right now. If everyone who watches this video subscribes, it means that we can start to create 2 videos like this instead of 1. All right, let's get into it. This video is split into 5 chapters that build on each other. Chapter 1 looks at the results in detail, who turned out, who switched sides, and how Harris lost support among groups Democrats have counted on for decades. Chapter 2 explores how Biden's late exit and the coronation of Harris without a real primary damaged her legitimacy and left her no time to define herself. Chapter 3 unpacks the economy, how rising prices and a sense of decline overshadowed everything else, and why it was such a brutal year to be an incumbent. Chapter 4 goes into the Harris campaign itself, from the cultural messaging to the rush strategies, which really affected how the public viewed her. And finally, Chapter 5 dives into race, gender, and the new Trump coalition that is reshaping American politics in a way that both parties will have to reckon with. Remember, each chapter builds on the one before it to give you a full picture of the events.
But we must accept the results of this election.
You already know this, but it was a wipeout. Kamala Harris lost all 7 swing states. Those are the states that both parties, Republican or Democrat, have a chance of winning. Kamala lost them all. But let's go deeper into the numbers. Turnout stayed high.
And this is what they're going to tell you. She lost because she was black, or nobody voted for her because she was black or some shit. I don't know, bro. I'm sick and tired of the excuses.
Turnout was huge, almost matching 2020. In battleground states like Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Michigan, over 70% of eligible voters showed up. Republican areas stayed energized. Turnout in Republican counties dropped less than in Democratic ones. And crucially for the Republicans, turnout stayed higher among white voters than colored voters. But the biggest story wasn't just the turnout. It was people switching sides. Compared to Biden in 2020, Harris lost 9 points among Latino voters, 4 points among Asian Americans, and 10 points among young black men. Okay.
Cause we aren't falling for this shit no more. It's a whole new world. I can think clearly. And when you start to sit back and you wonder, all of these handouts by the government, and you think about it, think about it. Imagine the government wasn't here and this was before all of this shit, cause this was before. Just imagine we was in the jungle. How would you survive then? Because the government's job is not to give you a job or provide for you. The government's job is to govern. It says it in there, is to govern. So as they're governing, they're not supposed to be giving you shit. But let's just imagine we were outside and there was nothing but fucking woods. You had kids and you had a wife and, or not even a wife, your girlfriend, your mate, and then you had you. You think if we was in the fucking jungle, you think all of these women would be talking about men ain't shit? If it was beginning of times and we were getting chased by lions, tigers, alligators, bears, monkeys, and fucking cougars, you think all of them women on the net talking about, oh, I'm an independent woman, I could do this. I'm an independent I could do this. You think they're going to be talking shit when a bear, a tiger, or some shit is chasing them? You think they're going to be talking shit in the woods when it ain't no government, when it ain't no iPhone? You think they're going to be talking shit when they trying to keep their kids alive? You think they're going to leave a nigga when they know they're going to be starving, hungry and shit? Like, come on, cuz. Stop it. Y'all playing this fantasy. And it's a fantasy because shit ain't changed, but there's a government governing you niggas. Instead of y'all being like a third world country and killing each other off, there's somebody in place to be like, instead of y'all trading fucking silver and gold, how about you trade $1? Let's make this thing a bigger process, and let's help the world progress. Spending money helps the world progress. If you don't spend any money, it's going to stop. Ain't nobody going to have the want to do anything. Sometimes I just don't, a lot of this, I don't get none of this shit. I'm going to just keep saying that. I don't get it.
Just a quick explainer. You might hear political commentators use the word points all the time. This confused me at first, but what this means is a percentage point, not a percentage change. So if 63 out of 100 Latino voters supported the Democrats in 2020, but only 54 out of 100 did in 2024, that's a 9-point drop. This is a really useful way to measure shifts in voter behavior over time. A drop of just a few points in key states or among key demographics can completely change the outcome of a national election. Carrying on, even white voters, still 72% of the electorate, moved further right. She lost ground with young men, irregular voters, and white men with college degree who had swung to Biden last time.
Why? I ain't swinging to Biden last time. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I ain't vote last time. But why did we choose him? Why did black voters choose him? All the fucking jobs is gone. I'm telling y'all from the get-go. I have family that keeps asking me to come and visit. A family that asks me to come and visit in Ohio. I have family that come and ask me to visit. I got friends that ask me to visit Washington. I got friends that ask me to visit California. Bro, it's none of that shit, cuz. Bro, I got an AV job and I'm making like $20 an hour or whatever it is. That's still not enough. My girlfriend is making the same as well, just as much more. But that still ain't a fucking enough. Like, bro, it's at a point where it's unsustainable. They were saying it's unsustainable. There's no way. I just bought $200 worth of groceries. And there's nothing in my refrigerator. There's nothing in my refrigerator. Like, I got an orange juice and I got some stuff in the freezer. I got some meats, but we can't get nothing to drink. We can't get no juice. We got orange juice for breakfast, but we don't got no like Minute Maid or bro, like honestly. And I know my people look at me as if I'm like just whining or some type of shit, bro. I kid you not. Every TV in this house was free. Every couch in this house was free. Every table in this house was free due to the fact that, nigga, every time I try to go do something, I got to catch up on some bills. Tico charging me $300 for a light bill every month because they talking about you're using more than you used last month, but I have the same shit plugged in. Then we move, we got to pay a $300 deposit because we use too much electricity. Then we got late fees on top of our fucking rent. On our rent at Copeland. Bro, it's too much going on. Then you can't get a good job. You can't get a good job like, bro, I could build iPhones. I could repair iPhones. Why are there no facilities here? I can install CPUs on boards, or I can install motherboards on computers, or I can install frames on computers. I can install panels on TVs. I can install power supplies on TVs. I can install goddamn all of this little stuff that need manufacturing, but we don't got it. We got a few card places, but you have to be in those locations to get the job. Tampa don't got shit. I mean, like, they got some factories, but it ain't like not no trait type thing like back in the day where your grandpa just go up to the factory and be like, can I get it? Man, fuck nah. It ain't like that no more. And if it is like that, the factory in fucking Canada.
The gender gap also widened. Among voters under 30, Democratic support dropped from 61% to 55%. Now, women mostly stayed with Harris, but men moved decisively towards Trump, widening the partisan gender gap to record levels. Now, this one's really important. Education and urban-rural divides. White college men drifted away, especially outside battleground states. And in big cities, places Democrats once dominated, turnout and support fell. Meanwhile, rural areas stayed solidly Republican. This was also reflected in the income of voters. People with lower incomes were more likely to vote for Trump. The only income bracket Kamala held was people who earned more than $100,000 a year, and that was barely. When your coalition depends on young voters, diverse voters, and cities, and you lose ground in all three, that's catastrophic.
On the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more.
And I want you to understand, I wasn't influenced to be a MAGA type person. Honestly, I've been noticed this stuff going on. When I first came to Tampa, I went to T-Mobile because I was a fan of T-Mobile. Went to T-Mobile. I went to go check to see if I could get a phone. But when I went in there, on the TVs, it's like big ass pride flags and all of that type of shit, bro. I walk straight the fuck up out of there. I'm not supporting that. And like, again, I always say it's your choice to be gay. Do that shit after 18 or whatever it is. But if you gonna do that shit, make it known, or give a straight family a flag and you put that flag up on that TV as well. If not, I feel like this is discrimination. I'm gonna just keep it real, because you don't got no other type of family over there. You don't got no, it just don't make no sense to me. I noticed that. I noticed, shoot, a lot of people don't have any insight on technology. Technology is simple at the basics. Yeah, I get more complex at the top, but bro, it's kids in middle school coding in China or trying to code. Like, our civilization don't know shit about a fucking computer. And that shit is fucking sad, because we've grown up with computers. We've had computers. And I remember some lady saying that people in Chicago, black kids, don't know how to use basically computers or whatever it is. And in a sense, I thought, hey, at first I thought that shit was crazy, but bro, when I talk to computers to people, they act like I'm speaking magic or Spanish or some type of shit. And it's sad, because we are underdeveloped. We have a great country with smart people that just choose not to want to be smart, or choose not to want to understand. And they choose it. It's not like it's not being provided. They choose it.
Border Patrol.
Biden stepped down too late. If we're going to go chronologically, before anything else, it's important to understand how late Biden stepped aside and why timing matters.
Just days after former President Biden announced he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer, a new book out today blasts Biden aides and people in the White House at that time for allegedly hiding his declining health from the public while he was in office.
For over a year, millions of Americans can see something wasn't right with their president. Online clips of Biden freezing, forgetting names, and shuffling on stage went viral almost daily.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. You're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
But instead of addressing it honestly, many senior Democrats brushed it under the carpet. Voters were told he's fine, he's sharp, he's ready to serve another term.
He's at the top of his game.
On his game. Top of his game.
Top of his game. Such a consequential president of the United States, a Mount Rushmore kind of president.
Look how she eating him up. Look at she eating that up, and she going and goddamn trying to finesse the move with the next stock purchase, my nigga. As she eating that shit up. Man, Biden was influential. He was a game changer. We've never had a president like him before, bro. Man, hold up. Let me pull out this Robin Hood. I forgot that somebody was supposed to be investing something in a company and the stock's finna shoot up real quick. Let me put that in there. All right, I got that. Well, yeah, Biden is all influent. Man, get the fuck on.
On his game. Do you believe President Biden is the future of the Democratic Party? The strongest person to represent Democrats in 2024?
Absolutely.
Biden is extraordinarily strong.
Is the strongest, most accomplished president we've had in my lifetime.
Yeah, but I don't think he's...
As this dude is deteriorating on national TV. Can we agree with that? As this dude is deteriorating, I don't know why y'all used him, but I know it was for a nefarious purpose. And I mean, like, you can see it. If he was using AutoPen and he wasn't cognitively there, bro, who the fuck was really running a White House?
Capable. I know he's capable.
He is capable, a strong and capable president, was fully capable of.
And Kamala, you ain't scathed from this, because you supposed to be second in charge. I don't know what the fuck happened. They just came and put you up on the stand as if like I don't know. We asked you to be there, bro. Ain't nobody know who the fuck you was.
Competently leading our nation.
Clearly, this president is fit to serve.
Smoking Joe Biden was on fire.
Biden is better equipped to do that than Joe Biden.
President Biden is absolutely fit.
And that common sense gap between what people could see with their eyes and what party leaders insisted was true became corrosive. It didn't just undermine Biden's credibility, it created resentment. If you lie to us about this, what else are you lying to us about?
Exactly. We needed more time. 107 days was clearly not enough time to do all of that.
By the time Biden finally stepped down, it was too late. Harris was left with almost no time to do 5 key things. Define herself in her own right as a leader, build relationships in swing states, explain what she'd do differently, build a national campaign with a Democratic grassroots, and pick a running mate. On running mate, she picked Minnesota's Tim Walz, who really didn't help in swing states. Minnesota has been voting for the Democratic Party since the 1970s in presidential elections. She could have chosen Pennsylvania's Josh Shapiro or Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer, but she didn't. This is fascinating. A few months ago, I was at the Louvre in Paris, sitting in front of the coronation of Napoleon. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's a spectacular piece of artwork. It's a massive canvas showing Napoleon being crowned as the Emperor of France. But look closer. Napoleon isn't waiting for the Pope to place the crown on his head. He does it himself, and then he crowns his wife, Josephine. It's a powerful statement. What's he saying? He's saying, I don't need the church's blessing. I am my own authority. The lack of a competitive Democratic primary felt the same for voters. When Biden did finally exit the race, there was no competitive primary. No debates, no town halls, no fresh mandate, just like a coronation. Like the party leadership simply crowned Harris without asking the voters.
I accept your nomination.
For many Democrats, and it's in the name, that was outrageous. Instead of earning her legitimacy, it weakened Harris's authority from the start. Even worse, Harris failed to distance herself from Biden's record. Voters were absolutely furious about inflation, border failures, and a sense the country was drifting. Democratic strategists begged her to draw contrast. Biden personally gave her some permission to create space, but she wouldn't. She could have said, I respect President Biden, but it's time to do things differently. It's time to do things my way. Instead, she said on her famous interview on The View,
there is not a thing that comes to mind.
There's not a thing that comes to mind I would have done differently. That was a catastrophic answer in a year when voters were desperate for change. It was played again and again in Republican adverts, constantly throughout the year, and really did stick in voters' minds. Harris inherited all of Biden's disapproval without any of his credibility.
Am I taking blame for inflation? No.
Why not?
Because it was already there when I got here, man.
Since Biden took office, consumer prices rose 19%. Food, fuel, rent, everything cost more. Analysts...
And let's think about it. Why did it all cost more? Because, again, supply and demand. A fucking catastrophe happened, and Trump tried to keep us outside. But when these Democratic judges impose stuff to the point where everybody has to get a fucking vaccine, or everybody can't go outside, or there's a curfew now because it's so damn bad, bro, you playing in our face. Now ain't nobody buying. Now prices gonna go up. Now they gotta recoup from that type of shit. Now, now we got the illegal immigrants. They gotta recoup from that now. Like it's it's a shit show. It's a shit show. And when people don't understand, they gonna listen to me, and this shit gonna go straight out the other ear. After they hear supply and demand, they gonna start thinking, it's time to start thinking. Change to the next fucking page.
Stuff to talk about the economy in terms of GDP, the stock market, and unemployment figures. However, ordinary people don't experience the economy as a spreadsheet. They feel it in the most tangible emotional ways. How much it costs to fill up their car, the shock when groceries ring up at the till, whether they can afford their mortgage. When those daily costs feel out of control, it doesn't matter how many times politicians point out the positive data. People feel poorer and more anxious about their day-to-day. If they're struggling to even look after their family, they're going to find someone to blame, and that person is usually the president. On election night, exit polls show that 31% of voters said that the economy was the most important issue. Only 14% said abortion. Even many women who supported abortion rights still prioritized inflation because it was crushing their household budgets. On my first YouTube video about Trump, I gave the analysis of Ronald Inglehart. People generally care more about policy that they can perceive tangibly that affects their day-to-day life, like the economy, defense, and crime, rather than that which doesn't affect them day-to-day, like abortion and the state of democracy. Now, these things are important, but remember, people care about what directly affects their everyday life. Now, that's not to say Biden and Harris didn't have wins together when they were in office. The Democrats passed huge bills. The Inflation Reduction.
Hell no. Hell no. Because hell is straight, but nah. Inflation Reduction Act will reduce plant heating emissions and lower prescription drug costs. So, man, come on, cuz stop it. Stop it.
Act, the CHIPS Act, infrastructure plans. They were huge wins, but their narrative didn't really translate into relief at the checkout or the gas pump. Great policy without a narrative around it plays a little dividend at the voting booth. Trump, on the other hand, has a simple message. Prices are too high and your life was better when I was president. I will fix it. And this wasn't just an American story. Across Europe and North America, incumbent governments were thrown out or punished by voters frustrated with the cost of living. In the UK, the government suffered their worst defeat in history at a general election. In France, Macron called a snap election and lost ground. In Germany, Scholz's coalition was humiliated. It didn't matter whether leaders were centre-left or centre-right. The backlash was the same. You've been in charge and my life got harder. I'm not going to vote for you. Harris walked straight into this hurricane, which really wasn't her fault. However, what was her fault was her inability to differentiate herself from Biden. And that brings us to the next chapter.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
Because Harris didn't define herself separate to Biden, she had to opt for a weak electoral strategy. Daniel Finkelstein, who spent decades advising British politicians, argues there are only 3 real strategies any campaign can run. The first is time for a change. This is by far the most powerful. It's the message that says, whatever you have now isn't working, let's start afresh. Obama in 2008, Tony Blair in 1997, even Boris Johnson with Get Brexit Done. In fact, the last British general election, the now Prime Minister only used one word on his poster, and that was change. The second is on the right track, don't turn back. This only works if voters feel things are improving. It says, we're making progress, don't risk it. This is Bill Clinton in 1996, Margaret Thatcher in the 1980s, and Barack Obama again in 2012. The third is better the devil you know. It's the weakest. It says, I know you're unhappy with me, but switching sides would be worse. It's defensive and fearful. John Major in 1997 used it in the UK and lost. Now you might think, why did Harris use this strategy? It's because she couldn't really use time for a change because she wouldn't break away from Biden. She couldn't run on the right track because the economy was brutal and people were so disgruntled with the current state of affairs. So she was left with, I'm stability, Trump is chaos, he's a fascist that will ruin America. When people want change, that isn't enough, and she paid the price.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
They say the customer is always right. If you're trying to sell a product, you try to accommodate yourself to serve your customer. Public service is the same. You do everything within your power and values to serve the electorate. Unfortunately, the Democrats had branded themselves, in the eyes of the American public, as holding contempt for the working class. They felt that the working class was morally unenlightened because they didn't share the same social views held in San Francisco and New York. The "you're either with us on everything or against us" mentality caused many swing voters to feel abandoned by the left. who felt that they lacked empathy for their viewpoints. This was characterized by Hillary Clinton when she called Trump voters a basket of deplorables in 2016, and it became a rallying cry for Republicans.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Similarly, in 2024, when Biden called them garbage, it had the same effect.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Even if Harris never said it, voters felt the same contempt. Harris's imagery was polished rallies with A-list celebrities and performances that didn't ring tasteful with the average American viewer. There were also controlled interviews where the electorate felt
Eminem was up there? Oh my God, Eminem. I did kind of like you, but I don't like you no more. I ain't gonna lie. Eminem. You can't come to any more black parties, guys.
Kamala was hiding her true values and beliefs. Kamala also missed very important dinners. For example, the one with the Catholic Church, where many voters felt, is this person for us? Trump
missed the Catholic Church dinner. Obama probably did too. Obama wouldn't salute the flag. Obama, I don't know what his girlfriend is talking about, but Obama think black men should have gay men in their life after all black men are raised by majority of women. And right now, majority of us are creating majority of the crime, the violent crime in the United States. So you're telling me that we should have a female and a gay man in a family? I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Imagery, on the other hand, was getting shot and standing up to fight. This signaled a strong leader. Serving McDonald's.
That signaled they ain't want that nigga in office because he gonna do something. And that signaled to me, maybe if they tried to kill him and he's talking about working at McDonald's where I used to work at, all of these, the fucking civilian type jobs out here, bro. It just seemed like y'all hating to me at this point.
It's to first responders. This signaled he knew what ordinary Americans value. Doing a rally and riding in a garbage truck, this was a direct attack on Biden and Kamala and showed solidarity with his voter base. Sitting with Joe Rogan, something Harris refused to do. This showed he wasn't afraid to let his human side loose. He wasn't afraid to let younger male voters know he knows what they're going through. Trump looked like an underdog fighting in an arrogant system. Harris looked like the system. Diving deeper into the last point, many voters felt Democrats prioritized progressive ideology over ordinary concerns. The Harris campaign underestimated the sentiment that many Americans, especially those not living in major cities, felt that the Democrats live on a different cultural planet. Richard R. Strain from the American Enterprise Institute gives 6 examples that made Americans feel deeply skeptical of voting for the Democrats. The enthusiasm many progressives had for defunding the police. The enthusiasm many progressives, including the Biden administration itself, for allowing gender dysphoric young people to undergo questionable chemical and surgical treatments. The decision not to reopen schools in the fall of 2020. The impression given by many elite universities is that they've switched from a mission of discovering and teaching truth to social justice activism. The 5th is signaling to individuals that they are complicit in racism because of who they are, not because they have done or said anything racist. The 6th is wanting to relieve successful, college-educated Americans of the obligation to pay back their student loans.
Right there. Take a look at this. Defunding the police. So I'm going to tell you what happens when you defund the police. When you defund the police, police quit. When police quit, you put more pressure on the system. When you put more pressure on the system, police have to work overtime. Not only do you do that, you're importing immigrants. So police officers have to work overtime. So when you see places like Chicago or California, stuff like that, who defunded the police, and why is it going out of control? It's because of this. During George Floyd and all of that shit that happened, they defunded the police. And you're not going to believe it. They stopped arresting minorities as well. If you're on the road, because I talked to an officer, if you're on the road and you get caught doing something and you're a minority, They're going to let you go with a ticket. They're not putting you in jail. I have no clue on why. I didn't do anything, but I think I ended up getting pulled over. But he was like, yeah, we can't pull you over. You're a minority. I'm like, what the fuck? Or we can't arrest you. Chemical and surgical treatment. So they were saying, so this is the thing, right? When you put gay books in schools, or not even books alluding to sexuality, like two men being okay, or a man and a woman just alluding to it too much. Now, it's normal to see a man and a woman or whatever it is, but when you're alluding to it in school where majority of the people probably only see a mother or a mother and father, you're giving them the opportunity to go further in that situation. If you start looking at a young age, you're going to remember, especially at a young age where it's the most critical time of your life. Man, my dog back here know how to do so many tricks, but we taught him at the beginning of his life because that was the crucial moment. Now, when you put in books that saying men and men are okay to be together and all of this type of shit, and they're in middle school and you're presenting them this information, it's going to stick with them. That's why you got pink hair people, yellow hair people. Some people think they dogs. Some people think they cats because they were born and raised in school. And in school, the counselor is telling these kids, if your mother don't like you in this state or how you feel, then she doesn't love you. And it's really hindering the cooperation between the kid and the parent, and it's hindering the cooperation between the teacher, counselor, principal, and parent, especially when these laws are in place where they don't have to communicate with the parent if a kid thinks their gender is incorrect. So that's I seen that way before MAGA. When MAGA said they'd take care of it is when I jumped on a MAGA train. Not reopening schools, not reopening anything in 2020, not letting people go outside was the whole fucking problem. Social justice at university. Another problem with social justice is there's no social justice. There's nobody being treated incorrectly. The only thing that's being treated incorrectly is Democrats using black people to get a vote, or using other cultures to get a vote because they know a white nigga ain't gonna vote for their ass. Racial, what is it? What's this other one over here? I can't see it. Hold up. I need to move my screen. Structural racist arguments. Like, come on. Forgiving student loans. Yeah, playing.
Earlier, I said the economy is viewed by people's lived experience, not statistics on an Excel sheet. Similarly, social values are experienced by people generally in their family unit. Don't underestimate the importance of the following sentiment. I don't want people who support progressives' cultural extremism to be in charge of my kids' school, much less the federal government. Fair or unfair, this is how many swing voters may have weighed up their choice. This is why Harris's 2019 statement that taxpayer dollars should finance transgender surgeries for prison inmates was so damaging, and why the Republicans played this ad on repeat.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true.
That shit is evil, cuz. I'm telling you, it's evil. It's evil. That shit is evil.
True. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message. she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Democratic symbolism wasn't enough. Harris was a historic presidential candidate, the first woman, the first black and Asian nominee, but symbolism alone couldn't hold the coalition together. Race and gender play a huge role in American society, but to put the election down to these factors wouldn't be factual. Latino, black, and Asian voters drifted away from the Democrats. Latino men moved 16 points towards Trump. Young black men dropped 10 points. Asian American support also slipped. Even many women who cared about abortion, like I said, still voted primarily on the economy above all else. In fact, Trump directly asked for coalition's votes, which many Democrats felt was politically incorrect or may come across as pandering. In Pennsylvania, Trump said, "Jews, I'm asking for your vote." In Michigan, he said, "Muslims, I'm asking for your vote." While racism and sexism still exist in American society, they are no longer divisive barriers to national leadership. The idea that Kamala Harris lost because she's a woman of color doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Now, imagine this thought experiment. If Republican Nikki Haley was their candidate, it's unlikely that sexism would have stopped her from defeating Joe Biden. And conversely, would a significant number of Biden voters have switched to Haley just because of her identity? Almost certainly not. What matters most is whether a candidate's ideology, policy platform, and ability to connect and resonate with the public at the time is correct. America elected and re-elected a black president in Barack Obama, and it's likely they will elect a woman, even a woman of color, in the near future.
Could it be you? Possibly. Have you made a decision yet?
No, I have not.
But that will happen when timing, message, and leadership style all align. In fact, attributes like race and gender can help a candidate, but only if they're paired with compelling substance.
The light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting.
Look, my final points are Kamala Harris's defeat wasn't inevitable, but it was a product of a party that couldn't decide whether to offer continuity or change. A candidate who wouldn't break from an unpopular president, an economy voters felt was rigged against them, and a cultural message that often sounded like it was scolding from above. When you add in Trump's skill at portraying himself as the ultimate outsider, the outcome becomes less surprising. This wasn't just the end of Harris's campaign. It was a signal that American politics had realigned again, and Democrats will have to rethink how they speak to the country. Thank you so much for watching this analysis. Hopefully you viewed it like I wrote.
Yeah, she was chick was a problem. I ain't even gonna lie. She was a problem. Huge problem. Keep it real with you. I wouldn't have voted for her if I was gonna die. I'd have died for everybody else's safety.